Hello everyone. So in the last lecture we have discussed the gaseous exchange inside the individual. Now today we will study the cellular respiration, that is how does the oxidation of food is taking place. What is the meaning of cellular respiration? That is the respiration. What is basically the respiration is the oxidation of food, that is the breakdown of food which will occur or which basically occurs inside the cell. So we have discussed the breathing mechanism, the transport of gases, that is how does the oxygen is transported to the different tissues and how does the CO2 is carried away from that tissues. Now we will see how does that oxygen is utilized and how does the breakdown of food takes place. So cellular respiration is basically the oxidation of food, that is the food is oxidized in the cell or inside the cell. Basically we have studied the chapter digestion. In that we have seen that food is digested and as a product, as a resultant we got glucose. Now that glucose is further oxidized it further breaks down to form its simpler units, that is CO2 and H2O. The waste material, that is the CO2, will be excreted or exhaled out and the H2O, which whatever it is required, can be absorbed by the cells and the rest of the water is again extracted out through urination. Now we have to study how does this cellular respiration, how does this breakdown occurs inside the cell, how does the food is oxidized inside the cell with the help of oxygen. So cellular respiration is basically the oxidation of food inside the cell. It occurs in 3 steps. First step is glycolysis. Glycolysis, that is the glucose. Lysis means to break down. In this step, glucose is broken down to form pyruvate. This is the basic, this is the main step over here. Glucose is broken down to form pyruvate, that is pyruvic acid. Since glucose is a 6 carbon compound, so 2 molecules of pyruvic acid is formed because pyruvic acid is a 3 carbon compound. This reaction occurs inside the cell, that is in the cytoplasm of cell. It is also known as EMP pathway because it was given by 3 scientists, we can say Amden, Mayhoff and Parnas. So this reaction or this step is also known as EMP pathway. The amount of ATP which is released during this step is 8 ATP, that is the 8 molecules of ATP is released during glycolysis. Basically cellular respiration, the main aim of cellular respiration is to produce energy in the form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. So ATP is released during respiration, that's why the food is oxidized. Food is basically contains energy in it and that energy has to be first converted into its utilizing form, that is ATP, then we can utilize that energy. So this process, the main motive of cellular respiration is to produce energy. So each and every step produce some or the other amount of, somewhat amount of energy is produced in each and every step in cellular respiration. So during the glycolysis, the amount of energy which is produced, that is 8 ATP, 8 molecule of ATP is released during this glycolysis. Next, after glycolysis, the event which will occur is Krebs cycle, which will take place in mitochondria, that is inside the organelle. Krebs cycle is also known as TCA, that is tricarboxylic acid cycle, or we can say citric acid cycle, because the first stable product which is formed during this event or this step is the citric acid. It is the first stable compound which is formed during Krebs cycle, that's why we also call it as tricarboxylic cycle, or we can say citric acid cycle, because it is a 3 carboxyl group, or we can say it is a compound which contains 3 carboxyl group. It is discovered by Sir Hans Krebs, so the name was given as Krebs cycle. In this step, or in this, we can say it is an intermediate step which occurs in between the ETS and glycolysis. Now what happens during this step? In this step, the pyruvic acid which is formed after the glycolysis is further converted into its simpler form, that is CO2 and H2O. These are the products which we want That's why the cellular respiration is taking place. So these are the simpler, these are the ultimate products which we got as a result of cellular respiration. So basically the pyruvic acid, the fatty acid, the fats, the amino acid which we have got after digestion of the complex food into their smaller units. Now these smaller units further converted into their simpler forms so that they can be utilized, they can be absorbed by the cells or the tissues of the body. So the amount of ATP or the energy which is released during Krebs cycle is 24 molecule of ATP. Last event which occurs in cellular respiration is basically electron transport system. In this, the energy which is released during the above reactions is utilized, or we can say is converted into its utilizing form so that our cells can utilize that energy. We will see this in the flow chart. Basically what happening over here is hydrogen atom which is released during the Krebs cycle is further breaks down to form the proton and electron. This hydrogen atom which is formed or which we got in Krebs cycle in the form of water is further breaks down to form proton and electron. Now these proton and electron which is formed during Krebs cycle is then combines with the oxygen. This will combine and this will form water as a resultant. So these are the events which are occurring in cellular respiration. Now we will see this in a little detail in the form of a flow chart. Now this flow chart says that the cellular respiration starts with the glycolysis, that is the glucose is converted or we can say breaks down into pyruvate. So this event, as I told you, that this event occurs in the cytoplasm of cell. So basically glucose is converted into pyruvate. This we will see in this. Basically the same events are occurring over here also, but we are seeing a little more what are the conversions which are taking place. Glucose is converted into pyruvate and the process is known as glycolysis which is occurring in the cytoplasm of a cell. Basically the ATP, I am explaining how does this ATP which we have got in these event is taking place. How does this ATP is formed? This we will see over here. 2 ATP is released as it is, but in this 2 NADH is also released. Now what is NADH? NADH is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. One NADH molecule gives you 3 ATP. Basically NADH is an electron carrier. There is one more molecule over here, that is FADH. FADH2 and NADH is basically the electron carrier. What happening over here is the electron travels in this step ETS, basically the electron travels through the different electron carrier, and during it or when it travels through these carriers it loses its energy, and that energy is further used up in order to form the ATP. So basically we can say NADH or FADH, which I have written over here, is basically essential for energy production. They are the electron carrier. So when electron travels through NADH, FADH, there are numerous molecules. So whenever it travels, the electron, when it travels through these carrier, it loses its energy, and when it loses its energy, that energy is used up for ATP production, because this is the basically essential for ATP production. ये भी ATP production के लिए ज़रूरी हैं, ये ज़रूरी हैं क्योंकि हमें ATP चाहिए. ATP ही वो फॉर्म है जिसको हम यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं as a energy, because ATP is the energy currency we can say. So pyruvate is formed as a result of glycolysis. We have discussed earlier in the previous lectures that in anaerobic condition, because the diversion occurs over here. If the reaction is taking place in the absence of oxygen, then these events will occur. That is, in yeast, ethanol will form. By yeast, we can say ethanol is formed, or during vigorous exercise in muscles, lactic acid will form. These events will occur in the absence of oxygen. But when there is an availability of oxygen, what will happen? These events will occur, and hence we will got ATP. So this we have discussed earlier, so no need to go in detail. So pyruvate is formed as a result. Now this pyruvate undergoes link reaction, or we can say oxidative decarboxylation, which will occur in the mitochondria of cell. Basically, acetyl coenzyme A, which is formed as a result of link reaction, is an intermediate step in between the glycolysis and the Krebs cycle. In between the Krebs cycle and glycolysis, this is the intermediate step. Pyruvate does not enter directly into the Krebs cycle. First, it has to undergo the link reaction in order to form the acetyl coenzyme A, which in that reaction, what will happen? CO2. Since we are saying it is a decarboxylation reaction, that is, the CO2 is removed in this reaction and 2 molecules of NADH is also released. I have told you what is NADH. NADH is the electron carrier with the help of which ATP is produced. 1 NADH gives you 3 ATP. Now we will calculate the ATP. First we will see this. Link reaction or oxidative decarboxylation, that is the removal or the release of CO2, and 2 molecule of NADH is also released, and the product which is formed as a result of link reaction is acetyl coenzyme A. Now this acetyl coenzyme A is then enter into the Krebs cycle. In the Krebs cycle, what will happen? 6 NADH is released along with 2 ATP as well as 2 FADH2. Now what is FADH2? It is again another electron carrier, and it is the flavin adenine dinucleotide. It is also essential for energy production, but the amount of ATP which is produced by the NADH and FADH2 is little bit different. There is a difference. One NADH gives you 3 ATP and 1 FADH molecule will gives you 2 ATP. This we have to remember. Now this Krebs cycle is also takes place in the mitochondria of cell. Now after this Krebs cycle, the event which will occur is ETS, that is the electron transport system, in which the electron which is released after the dissociation of water, that is, I have told you that hydrogen atom which is released in Krebs cycle is further breaks down to form proton and electron. Now this proton and electron further combines to form water. These are the products of Krebs cycle. This will again combine to form the water. Now what is happening over here? These FADH2 and NADH2 is not directly used up as the energy currency. First they have to be converted into the energy currency, that is the ATP. They cannot be used directly. First they have to be converted into their energy currency form. Then only our cells will be able to utilize that energy. So ETS, electron transport system, in that different electron carriers will be there, that is the FADH2 and NADH2. Now what will happen? The electron which is released in this Krebs cycle or after the Krebs cycle, they will travel through these electron carriers. Now when they travel through these electron carrier, what will happen? Basically this is occurring in the inner membrane of mitochondria. Mitochondria is a double membrane system or organelle. So this is occurring in the inner membrane of mitochondria. Now whenever the electron travels through these different electron carrier, it loses its energy, and that energy is further used up to form the ATP, which is the energy currency. So basically, how can we calculate the energy or ATP? Count of ATP we have to see. Calculation of ATP. First we will see in glycolysis, 2 ATP plus 2 NADH is also released. 1 NADH gives you 3 ATP. So the amount of ATP which is released over here is 2 ATP plus 2 into 3, that is 6. 6 ATP, which will give you 8 ATP. I have already explained that 8 ATP is released during glycolysis. Now this is the way how does this 8 ATP is formed. Then during link reaction, 2NADH is released. That means the amount of ATP is released is 6 ATP. Then in Krebs cycle, 6 NADH plus 2 ATP plus 2 FADH2. These are the products which is released, that is basically 6 into 3, that is 18 ATP plus 2 ATP plus 4 ATP. So total 18 plus 2 30, 30 plus 4, 18 plus 2 20, 20 plus 4 24 ATP is released during Krebs cycle. So glycolysis, link reaction plus Krebs cycle gives you 8 ATP plus 6 ATP plus 24 ATP. 24 plus 6 30, 30 plus 8 8, 38 ATP is released from one glucose molecule. So basically 38 molecule of ATP is released from one glucose molecule. So in this way energy is formed and the energy currency, that is ATP, is got. The amount of ATP which we got during the cellular respiration is 38 ATP from one molecule of glucose. Now we will see how does the respiration is controlled. Which organ or which part of the body is responsible, or we can say which is the controlling center of respiration. Respiration is being controlled by medulla oblongata and pons varolai of brain. So basically these are the receptor center of brain, that is medulla oblongata and pons varolai, which is present in the brain, and these are the controlling center of respiration. Basically we can say the respiration is controlled by these two receptor center which is present in the brain. The number of times, or we can say the respiration rate during normal condition is 15 to 18 times per minute. But during vigorous exercise, since we are using up our ATP or energy currency in a very frequent manner, that is very fast, we are using our energy in a very frequently way or in a very frequent manner. So we have to require the more CO2 or more oxygen, then only the food will be broken down. So we are using that ATP, that is we need or we require more and more energy, and for the energy to produce we require more oxygen, then only the oxidation of food will occur. So basically respiration rate during normal condition will be this, but during vigorous exercise, since you are using the ATP which is produced during cellular respiration, so we have to form, or our body requires to form or needs to form more and more energy, because you are using your energy in a very frequent way. So body needs to form more energy, and for producing more and more energy oxygen is required in a large scale. So our breathing scale will also increase, our breathing rate will also increase, and hence the respiration rate will also increase. So during vigorous exercise, the respiration rate will become during vigorous exercise will be 20 to 25 times per minute. Now there is a small topic, that is respiratory quotient. What is respiratory quotient? Very simple, but it is generally asked. What is the respiratory quotient? Respiratory quotient is basically the ratio. It is the ratio of volume of CO2 released upon the volume of O2 absorbed. This we have to remember. Respiratory quotient is basically the ratio of volume of CO2 released to the volume of O2 absorbed. So this is the cellular respiration and the control of respiration. Now after this, the last topic of this chapter is basically the respiratory disorder. So our last topic of the chapter respiration is respiratory disorder, that is the diseases which occur due to breathing, or we can say the problems which occurred in respiration, in breathing, or when we say breathlessness. What are the causes of these problems? So there are some diseases which affects our respiratory tracts. So how does these diseases occur and what are the causes of these disease? So first of all, we will see what are the diseases related or regarding the respiration, or that affects our respiration or breathing. Respiratory diseases, that is, first one is emphysema, occurs due to the infection or smoking, etc. If the person acquires some infection or exposed to some infection, then this disease occur, or due to smoking also this happens, due to the obstructions in bronchioles caused by breaking of alveolar septum. Alveolar septa, there is a breakage, or we can say the breaking of alveolar septa is breaks down. Because of that, obstructions occur in bronchioles, that is, obstruction occurs in bronchioles caused by due to the breaking of alveolar septum, that is, the passage of gases will be affected, or we can say their passage will be disturbed. So this disease called emphysema will occur. Next is asthma. Air passage becomes narrow and leads to obstruction in breathing. Air passage, that is the trachea, the windpipe, the bronchioles, we can say, that will, bronchi basically, that becomes narrow. And because of that we feel obstructions, or we feel problems, suffocated in while breathing. So the disease which is caused due to the narrowing of that respiratory tract, that is windpipe or bronchi, called asthma. Then the disease will be caused as asthma. Pneumonia is the disease which is caused due to the deposition or the accumulation of lymph and mucus in alveoli and bronchioles due to the bacterial and viral infection. Due to the bacterial and viral infection, the lymph and the mucus, they start accumulating over the alveoli and the bronchioles. Because of that, again the respiratory tract become narrow and it will affect the passage of air through the respiratory tract, and hence we feel breathlessness as well as, you can say, the obstructions while breathing. Next disease which will be, that is bronchitis, swelling in living membrane of respiratory tract due to the excessive smoking. Due to the excessive smoking, the respiratory tract becomes swollen up, it becomes we can say it becomes swollen up, and because of that disturbances occur in breathing or respiration that will affect the complete body of the individual, the complete metabolical activities of the individual, because breathing is one of the physiological or metabolic activities of a person, which will, or we can say, which is responsible for all the other activities, because we need we got energy through the respiration. And since the respiration is not taking, or we can say the respiration is not happening properly, then the energy we got is not, should be not in an appropriate amount. So the person will also feel weak because of these respiratory diseases. Tuberculosis, the next disease, which is caused due to the bacterial infection in lungs. When the lungs exposed to some bacteria, then the disease which is caused will be tuberculosis. And the last one is the pleurisy. We know that lungs is covered with a membrane called pleura. Lungs is covered with a membrane called pleura, and the inflammation in that membrane, that is the inflammation in pleura, causes the disease called pleurisy. So these are some respiratory diseases which occurs due to some microorganisms, or due to some our bad habits like smoking and all, or due to the exposure with some microorganism. These diseases will occur. This will affect the person and its health as well as its metabolic activities. So that's all about the respiration. Thank you.